All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you have your coffee. I got my little Army of Darkness cup of coffee here. I appreciate you all for joining us today on our self-directed Saturday. What's unique is as we do these type of events, we end up going through a lot of questions from our clients that go through a lot of different areas. And our clients have gone as far as investing in things from actual physical real estate. Now, when I say this, I mean, when I say real estate, I like to define real estate as a individual single family home, right? A rental, a fix and flip, a wholesale deal, something like that. We have a lot of clients though that was really unique in about 2015. They shifted to doing notes. Now, what is a note? This is where I take money from my own pocket and I end up lending money and I end up becoming more of the bank. And we noticed a lot of investors like to have this passive income, right? They like to be a passive investor. The problem with some of this though is if I am lending you money and you are a fix and flipper, well, how long do you hold that property? Your goals is little possible, right? Maybe 3 months, 6 months, sometimes a year, somewhere in between there. Well, knowing this, our clients started looking for even more different types of diversification style investments. And about 2019, we saw a humongous, and I do mean humongous shift to what I'm going to label as syndications. We like to internally call it private entity investments. This is someone that raises capital. And as they raise capital, right, they're going to build some sort of commercial style type building typically. This could be a multifamily unit. This could be storage units. This could be senior living facilities, et cetera, right? We've seen for hospitals and hotels and you name it. The problem is, though, a lot of people started then raising capital. Well, if you're going to be one of those individuals and you're out there and you're there to raise capital and you're trying to build this giant commercial building, there's a lot of things that you need to worry about. You have to worry about things like the SEC regulations, plan asset regulations, potential UBIT or UDFI questions, right? Is this someone that's just going to raise this money and say, hey, well, we're going to pay you back in 5 years and you're going to make a whole bunch of money. They're going to take your money and run away to Mexico. Man, there's a lot of things to worry about. So if I know there's a lot of these worries out there, how can I vet these deals? A, not only do I need to vet them and make sure we've done enough due diligence, but B, I want to know who I can invest in. Now, obviously, when you come to Quest, I can't tell you where to put your money. It doesn't work that way. So really what we ended up doing is we try to find some good partners that will do this work for you, right? They're actually going to be there, and they're going to be the ones that really go through all those types of due diligence. They're going to end up vetting a lot of deals, and they're going to end up going through all the motions to make sure someone's not, and I'm just going to throw it out there and call them a crook, right? And we've seen so many of those situations, so it's nice that we could bring in some good partners. Now, the first individual I'm going to bring up, it's just going to be a quick recorded video, guys. So I just want you to hang out with me. It's going to be about 5 minutes long. And then I'm going to bring on our headline speaker of the day. Now, I want you to understand that everything Quest does, it's always for educational purposes. So quick disclaimer, remember, I can't give you any investment advice. I can't give you that legal advice that you might be looking for or that tax advice. So this is strictly for your education. So stick with me for this first 5-minute video real fast so we can go ahead and let Mike Zlotnick come on up. Now, Mike runs a company called Tempo Funding, which they pretty much go through and they vet a lot of different syndicated deals. He's worked with us multiple times. He's been a speaker at our giant Quest Expo, which is right around the corner, which we will be talking about as well. But ultimately, he's become a good friend of ours and helped a lot of people become very, very wealthy. So I know I only have about a 5 or 6 minute video, but I just want you to hear from him real quick. So Victor, can you go ahead and bring up Mike's video and then I'll kind of do a closing and transition.
Hi, folks. I'm Mike Zlotnick, also known as the Big Mike, CEO and founder of TF Management Group. And we operate a family of funds. Tempo Income Fund is our income-focused fund. Tempo Opportunity Fund is our Income and Growth Fund, and Tempo Growth Fund and Tempo Growth Fund 2 are our growth-focused funds. We run a website called tempofunding.com. I'd like to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about how we work with Verivest and also how we work with Quest Trust Company, both great organizations. Just a couple of quick comments on Verivest. So Verivest provides multiple services to us. So first of all, we've known Verivest and been working with them since 2013. The number one service that we really enjoy is fund administration. So we don't have an in-house accounting department. We love running funds. This is our strength, but fund administration, the accounting, bookkeeping is not something that we'd like to do. So we're delighted to have that outsourced to Verivest. So they do your classic fund administration. They do all the bookkeeping, all the accounting for all the funds. They essentially as I mentioned, an outsourced accounting department. They generate also quarterly financial statements as well as investor statements. Furthermore, they generate distribution instructions for us that we basically can take and distribute quarterly payments to investors through ACH transactions or check distributions. So that helps us run our family of funds from the accounting perspective, and as well as the software distribution platform. So that the first part of the service is accounting, and we love working with Verivest team. But on the software side, they also have a great onboarding platform for investors. So basically, the platform it's a software as a service that our investors come to, and then they receive also white glove service from Verivest client services team. So the way it works is very, very straightforward. We have an investor who is interested in our platform. They would like to subscribe to one or more of our funds. We basically introduce them to the Verivest customer services folks, and they go to our website, and our family of funds lives on our website, secure.tempofunding.com, and that effectively is a Verivest software. Folks don't know that it's not our software, but it is basically something that they see when they subscribe. And that software onboards investors, obviously presents them with private placement memorandum and other offering documents. And the service that the Verivest team provides helps folks subscribe to our funds, as well as really, really importantly, many of our investors use self-directed IRA money to invest in a family of funds. And we work with great custodians like Quest Trust Company. So Verivest team actually helps them complete some of the Quest forms and then electronically submits subscription documents, DocuSigned, signed as read and approved to Quest Trust Company, and Quest Trust Company is able to facilitate those investments faster and efficiently. So it's a great teamwork in essence, but having Verivest as our onboarding platform, the software and the service helps quite a lot to get investors on board faster. Furthermore, the software helps us distribute, as I mentioned, quarterly statements. And then there are tools within the platform for investors to see what their portfolio is doing, how each fund is performing, how much money they have invested into each strategy. And from our perspective, we also see what investors invested in, and we get other information that helps us manage our investors. So it's basically software and a service that helps us operate a business. There's another benefit that we get through our relationship with Verivest. And that other benefit is that the Verivest is a platform that attracts many accredited investors. And we are one of the Verivest verified gold fund management companies. So we're listed on a platform. Investors find our funds, and they basically have the opportunity to subscribe right there. And we work with Verivest effectively to help promote our funds to accredited investors. And on the other side, accredited investors come and they see us, and they have the opportunity to review our track record and better understand our offering. So those are the primary ways we work with Verivest team and Verivest software and the Verivest organization. And just wanted to also add a couple of words on how we work with Quest. Quest has been a great relationship over many, many years. We have many Quest Trust Company folks that invest in our family of funds. And we've had essentially a VP type of relationship. Anytime we do quarterly distribution, these distributions take place. We send the ACH payments to Quest, and as well as supporting emails. Quest distributes that money into individual investor accounts very fast as a result of a strong relationship. So we love working with both Verivest and Quest. It's been a great journey. And I just wanted to add these comments. These are phenomenal organizations, and we appreciate the opportunity to be working with them.
Need to unmute myself. So one of the things Big Mike there was talking about, and if you hear his accent, it's funny. I always joke with him because he's almost 7 feet tall. They really do call him Big Mike, and he's the big Russian guy. So if you do ever have a chance to meet him, make sure you say "Здравствуйте" and "Спасибо," which is a great way to say hello and thank you. Now, one of the things he did mention in there a lot, though, was our next up-and-coming speaker. And they represent a company by the name of Verivest. Now, before I bring them on, I want to talk a little bit about them. And what's unique is they have helped so many investors because of the way they have developed their platform. Every single one of my clients at some point in time has asked me, Derek, I got this money sitting here. Where do I put it? I got an extra 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, something like that, and I don't know where to invest it. This is where Verivest comes in. They have gone through a ridiculous amount of research and due diligence on individuals that want to raise capital and put your money to work for you. So what they do is they have developed their entire company strictly to help you guys out as investors. This is a very rare opportunity. You'll notice we haven't had a chance to bring them on recently. And so not only that, we're excited to have them at our Quest Expo, but please, I want you to go ahead and welcome to the screen, Darius and Mac. Darius, Mac, you guys with me?
Hi, Derek.
Hello. Hi there.
Yep.
Hey, guys. So I'm going to let you take it away. I'm here in the background, but right now you have a total of about 75 people watching live, give or take. Now that number is fluctuating, but you're going to have some questions that pop up on the screen. And for those of you guys watching, post your questions right now. We're going to be doing a Q&A with these individuals to make sure all of your questions get answered. So Matt and Darius, why don't you guys take it away?
Great. Thanks, Derek. I'm going to share my screen here. And thank you, everyone, for having us today. I'm joined by Matt Burke. Matt's our CEO of Verivest. I'm a principal of the company. So throughout our presentation, you'll see these QR codes pop up here and there. If you want to take a picture of that, it will take you to an ability just to email me. And if you're interested, we'll send you a copy of Matt's book that he wrote a few years ago called Capital Attraction. It really mostly was written for the real estate managers that we work with, but we found over the years that a lot of our real estate investors have enjoyed the read as well and have learned a little bit more about what it is like to be a manager and what managers deal with. I guess quick background before we get into that, both Matt and I have been real estate managers for a long time. Matt going on about 30 years, myself about 20 years. So kind of come up in the business as managers and also professional investors. So kind of understand both sides of the business. Quick, not very quick, but our legal disclaimer here. So like Derek said earlier, we're not here to give any investment advice. This is purely for educational purposes. So why do people consider investing in real estate? That's something that we hear quite a bit. They're trying to diversify away from the stock market, maybe go after some tax benefits. And recently, a big topic has been the concept of being a hedge against inflation, which given the times, again, has been coming up more and more. So these are all good and reasonable reasons to consider investing into real estate. So a lot of times I'm speaking with investors, the question that I start off by asking is, what are your investment objectives? Here on the screen are some of those objectives that people tend to come up with. They want returns, they want distributions, diversification, appreciation, tax benefits, maybe estate planning or generational wealth planning, things of that nature come up. And there's no right or wrong answer. This is a very personal question for people, but I find that once you can prioritize these, you tend to have a better ability of sorting through a variety of investments. So how do people go about finding these passive alternative real estate investments? Derek mentioned, I think accurately, that there's been a big surge in these type of investing going back to about 2013 and really has accelerated 2018, 19, 20. So here's some examples, and for what it's worth, these pictures are actually people that work at Verivest, but I renamed them Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and so forth and so on to make up fake people here. So these are not real people, but just as an example, you can see, people find some of these managers on crowdfunding sites. Maybe you'll meet them at a country club, maybe at a conference like the Quest Expo or others that you might go to. Or maybe they've been introduced by a friend on the golf course, at a dinner, a party, something along those lines. Once you meet them, I think a lot of investors intuitively, like we all do, kind of pass some sort of judgment, whether it's conscious or not, about that person. And so we've witnessed this over the years where investors tend to make emotional decisions about these investments, whether they're realizing it or not. So because somebody may dress well, their marketing pieces are nice, they seem really trustworthy, there's some social proof that they're friends of your friends or some other thing. And so there's some snap judgment that is made when you are meeting these managers. That's partly what we'll get into, what Verivest is trying to help fight against or work with, I suppose. You can see here, once you get into the details of investments, they all somewhat look the same. And so people tend to then zone in on what are the returns. And again, that's not necessarily the best way to go about picking the investments. Just because they have higher returns doesn't mean that's going to be the best thing for you. So what I meant by the earlier comment around people making emotional decisions, you can see here, what if you backed up a little bit and I told you that of the 4 managers that you've kind of narrowed down, a few of them may have lawsuits from investors over the years. Maybe they've misappropriated some funds. Maybe they told you that they've been doing this for 20 years or they've done over 100 real estate investments, and they really haven't. Maybe they said they create 20% annual returns for their investors and they haven't. Maybe they are handling the cash and the accounting themselves. They're deciding what to distribute to investors. They're making their own statements they send to the investors. As you heard Mike Zlotnick in his video there, he uses Verivest as an example of a third-party administrator to fight against that sort of thing. And then maybe some of these managers are telling the truth, but they've upset or burnt some investors in the past. So these are real things that happen. We've witnessed this across the industry. There are thousands of managers. So for investors to sort through them and really be able to get to the level of detail to understand whether or not these things are happening has been really difficult, if not impossible, for high net worth investors. So that's where Verivest really comes in. And it's a big part of our mission, where we're helping the real estate managers, as you heard from Mike Zlotnick, but also trying to enable investors to make better investment decisions. So Verivest does have a marketplace where investors can go on, sort through different managers, see different strategies. Some have funds, some have syndications. There's ways to filter through that. And then really when you start digging into those, we have different levels of verification of these managers that we have done. So when you get onto the Verivest platform and marketplace, there are over 2,000 real estate managers currently listed there. There's about roughly 50 open investment opportunities. We don't pass any judgment on the individual deals themselves, but we are doing and starting the due diligence on the sponsors to help enable and empower the investors to try and pick and choose the better people. As Derek mentioned in his introduction, this concept or idea of a crook or a real estate manager running off to Mexico with your money. I know that's a little, I don't know the terms.
It's a little hyperbole, but it actually happens, and we've seen it happen. And the point is, it's very difficult for investors to get access to information that helps them discern the difference from one to the other.
So Matt, maybe if you want to talk the investors through what these different levels of verification mean, and just quickly, you can see the different check marks along the way, but maybe you can.
Sure. So if you look on the site and you go to the top nav bar, it'll say find managers. And if you click on that, you'll come up with, as Dara says, close to 2,000 managers. If you look at the screen now on the far right, those that are grayed out are not verified. So these are managers that, we have found them either on the internet or some other place. So we know they exist and we have added them to the database, but they are not verified. So we've done no homework on them or whatever, but you can find them there. The middle one, the Verivest verified, that means a manager has claimed their profile and they have passed background checks that Verivest has done on their behalf. And that information then is made available to you on the site. So as an investor, you can click on there and you can see that this person has passed a background check and meets certain standards. And I would encourage you to read the terms of service. I know that's not, something people normally do, but I'd highly recommend you do it. It tells you what those standards are that they meet for the background check. Now, if a manager wants to go to a higher degree of credibility and proof points for investors, they can become Verivest Verified Gold. And what that means is that they have submitted their information on their historical track record of performance, and Verivest has run that track record through its scrutiny and confirmed that the representations being made by the manager can be verified to Verivest standards. Now, we don't verify every single deal they've ever done, but we take an audit approach and verify a sampling. So from an investor perspective, not verified, I mean, you can find them, but we don't have any information on them. Verified means they've passed a background check to certain standards. Verified Gold means they have both passed the background check and they're capable of corroborating their historical track record to Verivest's standards.
Very good. So another thing that has come up over the years is that we have put on live events as well as hosted webinars and whatnot. And we've witnessed investor behavior where they like social proof. They like to know that other investors are investing in these, and they want to know what the experience level or what the experience has been for investors investing with certain managers. So it's a relatively new feature, but on Verivest, you will find in the different managers reviews. So as investors, you're able to leave reviews, but you can also read reviews like you would about maybe restaurants or when you buy something on Amazon to see what that experience has been for other investors. Anything you want to add there? All right. As Matt mentioned, to become Verified Gold, the managers are passing track record. We are doing track record verification. So they are submitting the deals they've done in the past. Verivest is going through and checking on the dates, the returns, what the distributions have been to investors. This is also relatively new. So there are some managers that are going through the process now, and you'll see this continue to be built out over time. Especially as investors start asking their managers to go through this process so that you can see what the managers have done and to verify for your, by seeing what we've done, that the returns they're telling you are accurate.
Yeah, now I'll comment real quick. So when a manager wants to have their track record verified, they provide us with a spreadsheet of the historical deals that they've completed. We will identify certain deals and require them to provide us corroborating information about those deals. So bank statements, tax returns, distribution amounts, and so forth, to verify that the claims they're making around the returns they've generated can in fact be proven. Now, that is almost impossible for an individual high net worth investor to do on their own. First of all, getting it from the manager is hard in the first place. And second of all, an individual investor investing $25 or $50 or $100,000, it's just not going to be possible. So getting track record verifications on managers, in our view, I mean, this is institutional standard practice. If you were an institutional investor, this is just something that everybody does. But because they're investing, huge amounts of money, they have the capacity to be able to do that, personnel and so forth, and managers will do it. But for individual investors, it's practically impossible. And to the best of our knowledge, this product does not exist in the marketplace anywhere else besides on Verivest.
So once you've kind of found a sponsor that you like, you are able to then review any open opportunities and see maybe past funded opportunities that they have available at the moment. And as you click into those, you can dive deeper into any due diligence that manager has provided, such as the offering documents, maybe other deal level information. And then if and when you want to make an investment, you can see that pinkish box in the bottom right-hand corner. There are buttons throughout the site on the open opportunities that say express interest. That would then take you into the investor portal, as Mike Zlotnick said earlier, at which time you can fill out the documents, select your Quest IRA, if that's how you're making that investment, and then finalize it there. That then becomes your investor portal, not only for that investment, but any other investment you make through Verivest would all show up in that one login.
To be clear on open opportunities, in order for a manager to list an open opportunity, they have to be at minimum Verivest verified, meaning they have the principals of the company have passed the background checks. They are not required to be gold, although they are encouraged to be gold. And from an investor perspective, you can sort in the site by various criteria, including gold. So if you want to whittle it down to the people only who are gold, because that's a higher level of credibility, you can do that. Or if you want to choose somebody who is verified but not gold, that's fine as well. But the minimum standard to list an opportunity is that you are at a minimum Verivest verified. And as Dara said earlier, we do not go through and provide, we do not pass judgment or provide due diligence information or opinions on any individual transaction. We are doing manager level background and information to try to help investors be able to pick and choose people who have reason for you to believe have a higher level of trustworthiness and credibility.
Perfect. So we get this question from some investors, like, what's the catch? This seems really great. This is free to investors. We do not push or sell anything to investors. There's no charge to investors to use the site. We would love for you to log in and create an account. Again, free to do that. And that allows you to set those accounts up. So if you do want to make investments, it's easy from that point. We do provide educational materials, webinars, blogs, podcasts, and more of those sort of things to come. And then we do have a live event coming up here November 3rd through the 5th in California. So if anyone's interested in that, there is information on the website to apply for the event. We will have 8 managers presenting, a very social event, a lot of learning opportunities, both learning from other investors like yourselves or learning from the managers. So if you want to come to that, just let us know. You can email me through these QR codes or go onto the website. And again, if you are interested in a free copy of Matt's book, just email me, let us know, and feel free to email me for any other reason. If you want to just chat, I'd love to, I learn more about what your objectives are, what you may want to get out of the website, answer any questions you may have. I'm happy to do that anytime for any Quest clients. So with that, I'll stop sharing my screen here and maybe we can open it up to some Q&A.
All right, guys. And I saw Mike jump on here just a second ago. Let's see. There he is. Hey, Big Mike, how you doing?
Hi, folks. How are you? I apologize. New York City, wonderful traffic.
Gotta love
it. Stuck between the start point and the end point, but happy to jump on.
Yes. So I have been doing these webinars for coming up on 2 years now. And I'm going to let you guys know that I have an insane amount of questions for both of you guys. So I'm going to try to go through all of these, but guys, make sure you're taking down the information so you can reach out. Because if we don't get to your question, I want to make sure that you're getting everything that you need out of this. This is probably one of those platforms and things that all of my clients absolutely probably need, right? Too often I get the question, man, where do I invest funds? What do I do? So I'm going to start off with this right here, and we're just going to start with the bare basics, right? From John, it says, are there fees for using, Verivest or the Tempo platform? Like, do you guys have some sort of fee for the investor? Not talking about the syndicator or the sponsor.
At this time, there are no fees to the investors. So the investors are able to use it for free. Get on there and do whatever you like. Again, we're a neutral third party. We're not encouraging you to invest in any one thing. We're not pitching any one manager, and we're not charging fees. Obviously, as a business, you have to generate revenues. Our revenues are generated when investors make investments with individual managers and on other services such as the manager membership, the track record verifications, the fund administration, and other services that we provide to the managers. But there is no direct charge to the investors.
Awesome. And Mike, I believe it's the same thing for you. Isn't that correct with the Tempo Fund platform for you guys?
That's right. So when we use Verivest platform, we pay for the services. So we use Verivest for fund administration of all Tempo funds. And when we list on the platform, there's some administrative fees and a few other small fees. But in general, we're delighted with the service. So these fees are very well worth the service from my perspective. And on our website, we don't charge any fees. We have no membership structure when folks would like to invest in our funds and learn more about our funds.
Yeah. So, and just so you guys out there are kind of aware, is Mike is actually kind of one of the sponsors as well. Like one of the people that can help in the aspect of the raising capital, where Verivest is the one that's doing really the vetting. So I love these type of things. That's why we want to have them both on here. So I'm jumping through some of the questions just so we can kind of get them answered what I feel like would be a decent order. But the next one that I really liked was, after someone joins the Verivest platform, how long does it take for you guys to actually verify all their information? And I could understand that it might change based on what, the syndication is or the sponsor is. So.
Yeah, the background checks can take anywhere from a few days to a few weeks, and a lot of that will depend on what shows up. In doing this for 30 years, I can tell you there are a lot of times I've run background checks, and there's things that show up that the manager would never tell an investor that they existed. So, but generally it's pretty quick. And if it's clean, the background check is very quick. If it's not so clean, it takes longer. The track record verification will generally take longer, and a lot of that depends on how much information the manager can readily provide. So I would tell you this: people who are very good at record keeping and can provide that information go through the background check quickly. People who are much more that don't or can't or don't know what to keep, it's a lot more of, it's like pulling teeth, and it's a struggle, and it takes them a long time if they can even get through the background check or the track record verification at all. So the answer is it depends, but I'd say a few days to a few weeks, Derek, on average.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. So with that as well, right? Do you guys verify the real estate identities, the criminal history, the civil litigation history? And I know you kind of mentioned that a little bit, like SEC filing actions, that type of stuff. Are those things that you are looking for when you're actually vetting one of these sponsors that are going to be on your platform?
Yes, in the background checks, there are certain criteria that we're pulling up. I believe the representation, and again, I refer you to the terms of service on the site, is there's a handful of things that they pass, like no investor lawsuits in the last 7 years, no bankruptcies in the last 7 years, things of that nature. So we do run considerably more than we represent on the site. But really what we're trying to do is allow investors to see that there's a basic level of credibility from a manager by being Verivest verified on the site. It certainly does not mean that we're condoning or supporting the underwriting on any given deal, but at least you know that you're dealing with somebody who doesn't have blatant violations of things that if you knew about, you would have no interest in investing in them at all.
Love it. Love it. Mike, anything that elaborate? Like I'm just kind of asking the questions in general to all three of y'all. So if you ever have anything to elaborate, I mean,
Sure, I'll just add a couple of comments. So we are in a unique position that we've been with Verivest, I believe, from 2013. One of the super veterans. I don't want to say we're one of the probably very few early folks that joined the platform. We've been delighted and really happy working with Verivest team. So I can tell you that for Verivest, very high. Being Verivest verified is sort of a little bit of an honor. So we appreciate that. But the beauty about what they do is the funds that they monitor, like our funds, they do the administration, they automatically monitor them. It becomes very easy to be Verivest verified because they do all the books. There's a little bit more work for them to take external funds and to verify them. But the strength of the folks who are on the platform is that the platform it basically selects kind of the best of the best. If you're not good, you go somewhere else. But if you're good, you wind up on a platform with Verivest Gold. This is my opinion. Obviously, I'm biased because we are Verivest Gold, but I've seen many folks come and go, not for the reason that the platform wasn't good. It's for the reason that some issues came up, and rightfully that wasn't the right time for them to continue to be on the platform.
Yeah,
so it takes a level of safety, not guaranteed, but a higher level of standard in a manner of speaking, in my opinion.
Derek, from my perspective, the becoming verified is baseline, right? That's just you've passed the principles of the company have passed a background check. Okay, that's baseline. And if I'm an investor and I have a choice to pick from people who have at least passed a background check versus the wider universe of people who haven't, then why would I not choose from people who at least can pass a background check? So to me, that's table stakes. It's a baseline. Gold is the next standard. Now they can verify that the track record that they've claimed that they've got, the representations they're making on their website and their marketing materials and so forth can actually be corroborated by a third party. So it's verified, then it's gold. And what Mike's referring to as monitored, that is what I would consider to be the highest level from an investor standpoint of security, is that they have now engaged Verivest to do the fund administration and the performance and tracking and doing the back end investor accounting on behalf of the manager. So there is a set of eyeballs on all of the cash and the books and the transactions that are happening. So it's verified, background checks, gold, track record, monitored. Where the deal that you're invested in is being administered by Verivest as a third-party administrator on that transaction. So from an investor standpoint, again, I would sort by they're verified, they're gold, they're monitored. Those are the ones I'd pick from first. If you don't want to, somebody may not use us for monitoring, for example. They are really good at it. They hire a different outside party. Okay, that still could be a plenty good deal, and it's not monitored, but they're verified and they're gold, right? If they can't verify their track record, or they won't verify their track record, you can still invest with them. They're Verivest verified, but why would you if you can pick from a broad enough universe of people and strategies and different asset types and different investment objectives, right, that meet those standards? That's the whole idea.
Now, I got some people asking, just can we define a real estate manager a little bit more? And I'm kind of calling it a syndicator. So I know we're using a bunch of different terms, but just, in general. So
go ahead.
Well, we use the term manager because there are a variety of different types, right? A syndicator is someone who is raising money for one individual transaction. A fund manager is somebody who is managing a pooled investment fund who has multiple transactions and multiple investors. And there are a lot of Quest investors and just non-IRA investors that will invest in funds. So a manager would be a syndicator or a fund manager, right? And it could be private lending, it could be tax lien certificates, it could be individual loans, it could be direct ownership of real estate, of office or retail or multifamily. So it's anybody who is managing either a fund or a syndication that's raising money from high net worth investors in those vehicles.
Sorry, my mic wasn't working. So with that being said, too, then if I am an investor and I'm already like, hey, I want to invest in this, this syndicator, this real estate manager, right? How do they get in your platform? How can they reach out to you? So I posted the question up here, just kind of reworded it a little bit, but one of my clients is already going kind of through emotional and wants to make sure that you guys can vet him out somehow. So how can that happen?
Yeah, that manager can just reach out to us and we'll start putting them through the process. As Matt said, it can take a matter of a few days for that background check or a few weeks, but it's just up to that manager to reach out. As a follow-on to that, one question that we get from both investors and managers, and I just want to throw it out there, is what is prohibiting some of these managers from becoming Verivest verified? Is it really expensive? Is it really hard? The answer is that we have purposely priced the entry point really low for the managers to make this a frictionless thing that they can get verified. And so if a manager is telling investors something else, that it's really prohibitive, really expensive, that just is not true. So something to note.
So I would say this too, like if you're an investor and you're looking at a manager, or you have a manager, let's say that that you're thinking about making an investment in, you can go to the Find Manager page and then type them in, search managers. And they may show up and they may not. If they don't show up, I would just encourage the investor to tell the manager to contact Verivest and get verified. If they do show up, and a lot of them they'll show up as an unclaimed profile. That manager, if the investor tells the manager about it, the manager can go onto the website and it's all automated. They can claim their profile. So they've now claimed it, and then they can go through and just click buttons and fill out a request to become verified and get the background check. So all of that is automated for a manager on the site. And if it doesn't work or it's too confusing, they can just pick up the phone or email, and they can call Kellen Stevens or other folks at our shop, and we'll walk them through the process. But to Darius's point, it's cheap. We've priced it very low. I mean, for us, we just want to get the manager on board. I mean, get them verified, and then because over time they get their track record verified, they use this for administration, right? We want to create a lifetime relationship with both the manager and the investor to help the manager up their game and become, higher quality managers, and to help investors make better decisions. That's the whole purpose of the platform.
That's the thing. Like, if I have money and I'm looking for a place to invest, I can easily just go to your website and find someone like Big Mike here, and then actually look through comments and things from other people that have invested with him and work through your guys' system. So I love it.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I'll
Mike.
add one comment. The hardest thing for investors is to build know, like, and trust quickly. This is really hard. It takes years. And in traditional life, it's years of relationship building. When you work within the Verivest platform or other relational networks, as you know, we're part of the Freedom Founders Network. That time it takes to build the trust is shrunk from years to weeks and months. And it makes all the difference because Verivest does the work to vet these folks. It's a huge difference to be a verified, trusted party. So it's a great benefit to the manager, and it's a great benefit to the members from the point of view that they build this know, like, and trust in a lot faster time frame versus if they try to do it on their own.
Yeah, there's no way. It's very difficult for a manager to be able to create this type of credibility. And if they claim it themselves, of course, credibility is not very high when someone says, "Hey, I'm great." Okay, that's fine, but how do you know that they're great? And I see Keith's question on there, or Kevin rather. How, if a company is gold or verified, how often does that happen? And you're right, Kevin. It's annual on the memberships. So in order to remain verified, they have to do a minimum of an annual background check, and that's on each principal who is an active operator of the company or who owns more than 20%. And then on the track record verification, it's quarterly verification of any additional deals that have gone full cycle. Or if they want to do it as they happen, then they can do it on a one-off basis every time a deal goes full cycle, and we can verify it.
I love that. And you just mentioned something that I think is really unique because there's and I won't mention the company, but they brought in a CEO who we internally at Quest, we always do some sort of at least minor background check before we let anyone speak on any of our platforms. Now, what's unique is the CEO, we never heard of him. We never recognized him. It was a newer company, so we kind of did some research on what we could. We couldn't find anything, right? And we're like, oh, so they're probably okay to come on. There was no negative views. There was no outstanding lawsuits underneath his name or this company. But then when we looked at some of the principles of the company, some of the other executives, we realized a lot of them had these SEC violations, and some of them had outstanding lawsuits. So you guys are not just looking at the bare basics, right? Oh, who's the CEO and what's the company name? No, you're going through every level.
It's every principal of the company who either, and it's the higher of the two, right? That either owns 20% or more of the company, or if they own less than 20%, but they're an active executive of the company, they're actively involved in the business, even if they only own 5%, then they need to pass that background check.
Yeah, and Derek, a lot of this came because Matt and I over the years witnessed a lot of real estate managers trying to raise capital from us, and we would catch these things, but recognize that high net worths couldn't. And those same managers that we would turn down because of backgrounds or other reasons, they would have success going out and raising capital from other people. So we witnessed this happening, and we're sitting there going, hey, as a good manager, that's really frustrating. And as somebody, that has more morals than going and raising capital from people when you have those sort of issues, SEC violations, we wanted to kind of put an end to that in the industry. And that's a big part of the mission for Verivest, is to at least help investors make those better decisions.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, there are people out there that I can almost assure you that some IRA investors have investments with that we have done due diligence on, that if you knew what we did, you would not have invested with those people. Yeah. I can guarantee that.
And I know exactly what you mean. And at some point, too, your hands are somewhat tied, because if you start just blowing whistles in certain things, you can get in trouble. And so all you can do is tell your clients and things, please do your research, do the due diligence, right? Which is why these platforms work so well for any investor, especially coming in.
And that's why we're not calling out the bad things about certain people. We're not going to go there. We're just going to say this set of people have passed and they're clean as of right now.
But you know what we would try to do, Derek, is like if we could have every single person who has an IRA open with Quest or any IRA company who were willing to go out and say to any manager that they were going to invest with, are you Verivest verified? And are you gold? And if they say no, then why not? Is it because you won't or you can't? And that will drive additional behavior. I believe in the long run, investors will become the best salespeople for Verivest, because everything that we're doing is to the benefit of the investor. And we've built the whole company with a focus on how do we make it easier for the retail investor to get information that they've never been able to get historically. And we can do it now because of technology, right? The digital world has transformed industries, and it's going to transform the private alternative investment real estate industry.
Really, I mean, look at this class right now. I mean, we're all three in different states, and we're able to do this and bring people from across the U.S. to get this education. So one of the things that I always get in almost every single self-directed Saturday class that we host, right, is, well, can you guarantee me returns? Can you go ahead and just say, hey, I'm guaranteed this, I'm guaranteed that? And I think it's so funny because, and this was the question we got, was, do you insure results? Now, I'm going to change insure to guarantee results, but
absolutely not. I mean, we can do the best we can to provide additional information to help people make better decisions. But if someone is hell-bent on committing fraud, or doing things that we can't, control, then no, we cannot insure, and we do not insure the results. I mean, we will do the best we can to provide information, but we're trying to tell people up front, you are responsible for your own decisions. We're just trying to provide more information to enable people to make better decisions.
And that note too, I always tell people, if someone is guaranteeing you XYZ for a rate of return,
and they're lying.
You want to run the other way.
Correct. Yeah. That's not good.
You can't guarantee every single little thing, and that's part of being an investor. And I know I work for retirement accounts and self-directed IRAs, but this holds true even with your own capital.
That's right.
Everything we're talking about today, they can use their cash in their checking account, their business, their LLC, their C Corp, S Corp, their IRA, their 401k.
No, right? I tell investors all the time, it's like, look, you should never expect somebody to guarantee you results. What you really want to do is make sure you're investing with someone that when things go sideways or bad, or market conditions change, or something happens that's out of their control, then you have the highest degree of confidence that that person is going to act with competence and integrity in how they handle it, right? And maximize your outcome, which doesn't necessarily mean, it absolutely does not mean guaranteeing a return. It doesn't even necessarily mean guaranteeing a return of capital, but you're improving your chances of not getting ripped off and of dealing with competent people with character that give you a better chance of a return on your investment.
Yeah. Now, before we answer John's question real quick, Mike, and this is where I kind of like this question, is I know you can't guarantee your investment or anything like that, but every single investment you've done and that I've seen come through us, you've done a lot of work in mainly communicating, right? I understand that, a lot of your rates returns have been very high, and we've seen a lot of those kind of come into our clients, but you are the number one communicator out there. Is that correct?
So, Derek, I appreciate the kind word. We try. Let me put it this way: we try to do the best we can.
Yep.
Communication is a very important part of the service. So if you communicate well during the good days and the bad days, and we had the days of COVID when the performance was under our own expectations, performance was suffering. We had a negative quarter in, for example, Tampa Opportunity Fund. It's okay as long as we communicate, we explain to investors what's happening out there, and we run our service as a white box, not a black box. This is the reason we love working with Verivest. We want to be very transparent, white box. And if investors come to us and ask me what's in the fund, show me the portfolio, we will show them the portfolio. So for folks who communicate well, who run their business very transparently, it gives investors visibility and additional assurance. Now, no guarantee of the return, but typically good managers and good operators do that, and that's the reason we love working with Verivest, because we also are investors. We run fund of funds, as you know. We run fund of fund model, which means we invest into deals. And working with folks who are Verivest verified in the platform, and even some folks we've taken to the platform who wanted to borrow money from us for their strategy, we've asked them to get Verivest verified because it makes our life easier as small institutional investors to write the checks into the deals when these folks are Verivest verified gold and they're monitored. From that perspective, it makes us feel better as managers, and it's very, very hard, as I said before, and I'm repeating this again, because know, like, and trust is very hard to build. Anytime we have a new opportunity to invest, I have a heartburn. I get very nervous if I don't know that party, and if I haven't had opportunity to get a strong referral and get them verified. Otherwise, there's a lot of risk involved with the principal. In my view, the underwriting of a deal always starts with the principal or principals. That's the number one party. You start with them, no matter how good the deal is. If you're going to invest with idiots or you're going to invest with shysters, you're going to lose your money. So you have to start with the best people. And I think that's what Verivest does. They identify best of the best, and that essentially helps folks at least clear that hurdle. Not every deal is going to be a home run, but at least they know with great, honest operators and managers, that makes all the difference.
I love it. So can you guys answer John's question real quick, just briefly? I know you talked a little bit about it, but what's the difference between being verified on Verivest platform and the verified gold aspect?
So verified simply means, again, baseline, the principals of the company have passed the background checks to Verivest standards. Gold means they've passed the background checks to the standards, and they have verified their track record to Verivest standards. So the gold is baseline plus track record.
I love this question. It just popped up. I'm just going to throw it up there. Sorry, I know I'm skipping through questions, guys. If you're one of our attendees right now, I'm going to do my best to get to all of them. Which it's not going to happen. We got so many of them, so we're going to pop up some email addresses. But I love this question because I know the answer, and I'm going to say there isn't one, right? But Verivest, who is your competition?
Yeah, well, there are certainly competition for component parts of our business. So, for example, there are a lot of fund administration companies out there in the world who just do fund and syndication administration, but they don't do the track record verification, the verified, and so forth. There are crowdfunding sites that investors can go out and find deals on the crowdfunding site, but they don't really do the back end and the monitoring and the investment management platform. There are software programs out there that do some of what Verivest does on the software side, that are investment management platforms that managers can buy to help manage kind of the relationship with the investors. But to the best of our knowledge, there is no platform that does all three of those things, from the verification and track record, to being able to find the managers and to be able to find and invest in deals straight through the site, to using the software on what the stuff is that you've invested in, all the way through to the administration.
Man, so I love that, because one of the things, guys, is you have to understand that Quest has been in business now for 20 years. Verivest is the only company we've ever brought on with this type of platform, with this type of aspect that can sit here and literally vet your deals. It's insane. And all the time I have my clients ask me like, hey, Derek, where can I put my money? Where can I put my money? Where can I put my money? If you're out there and you're asking me this question, you're asking it to the wrong guy. Check this out. Check out the Temple Fund site. Check out the Verivest website so they can go ahead and go through those type of motions and get you started. So one question that just popped up is, have any companies that have passed the Verivest background check, failed their investors? If so, do they get removed from your platform?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say that we've had countless hours of discussions internally with legal counsel around, as we build out this platform. And to the previous question, this is all pretty new. So I think in some ways we're charting new territory around how we treat things like this question. Mm-hmm. So I would tell you that to the best of my knowledge, none of the Verivest verified investors have, quote, failed investors in the sense that, rip them off. I mean, we don't track necessarily the individual investments on all of the investors. So I'm sure the performance is all over the map. And again, that's not our purpose, to try to pass judgment on any individual deal, right? We're just trying to make it better for investors to find people who can be trusted. There are people that we have had to terminate as clients on the fund administration side because some of the things that they were doing did not comport with what was in their operating agreement. So the short answer is yes, we have had to do that on 3 or 4 occasions. And I don't necessarily say that those people were, trying to rip anybody off, but either they didn't understand how to do it properly or weren't willing to adhere to those operating agreements. I mean, I'll just tell people that having done this for as long as we have now, a lot of managers are well-intentioned people, but they don't necessarily understand all the things that they're doing. And investors, at the end of the day, if you're dealing with, a nice person who's not competent, that's not a very good investment decision. So again, I want to be very clear that we are not pretending to be a panacea or that investors will never have a problem with anybody that's ever on the site. I mean, the sheer volume will make that impossible. All right. Sooner or later, there will be somebody out there that does something that we don't want them to do, and we'll deal with it the best that we can, right? With as much upfront and integrity as we can. And if we need to remove them, we will. But that doesn't mean that somebody might not try it, right?
Yeah. And I call it malicious intent. Did the investor you can't say that every deal is going to go perfect. Every deal is going to go right. Every deal is going to be that, where I double, triple, quadrupled my money, which I've seen happen in a lot of cases. But the thing is, was there some form of malicious intent where they purposely did something to, not take care of their investors? And that's what I think more you guys are looking out for, is making sure
And I will tell you, Derek, that somebody with malicious intent or who is a true con person, right? If they're trying to con the investors, they probably will try to con Verivest too, right? And I'd say we are pretty good at sniffing out BS, right? But I'm not going to tell you that we'll be perfect, right? We're very much trying to create objective criteria as much as we possibly can that people can either pass or not pass, right? They can either pass the background check that meet these standards or they can't. They can either give us the track record information that they need or they can't, right? And then from there, investors it's still caveat emptor. I mean, you need to make good decisions and make your own choices. We're just trying to give you a better baseline for making those decisions.
I love it.
I have a quick comment. Just so Verivest has an event coming up.
I was about to bring that up. Their Investor Summit.
Yeah, Investor Summit. So I have the privilege to be presenting at the event. And I can tell you the number of spots at the event is very, very limited. And Verivest go through all kinds of due diligence to make sure that folks present at this event are highest quality, great operators. And I've gone to many of these events in the past. They were under umbrella, but I've gone to them. We had many great operators for these events. And I can tell you, that it's not a perfect world. This investment could not be perfectly, but I haven't found one that has gone really, really bad. Most of these folks that come to these events, these operators, these sponsors, have been highest quality, extremely well vetted, and we've done really well investing with them. This has been my kind of track record, and it's no past results don't guarantee future performance. But the past results should kind of work so that type of tools. Verivest verified goal, Verivest verified goal monitor.
So, Mike, you're breaking up there just at a little bit there at the end. But the thing is with this investor summit that Verivest is putting on, I believe it's in November. Is that correct, guys?
Yes, November 3rd through the 5th in Laguna Niguel, California.
And I try to post the link up there real quick. You guys know how websites are, right? It always like when it's to go through a flag, goes to a whole bunch.
It's on the homepage at verivest.com to scroll down and you'll find information there. We're asking investors to apply. We also are trying to make sure that the investors that are attending they want to be there, they want to engage. There's no pressure to invest, but we want legitimately interested, engaged investors that give people like Mike and the other presenters, the respect and the courtesy of being engaged during the entire event.
Yeah, then Mike said it. There's a limited number of spots. We're about 70% full on the investor count right now. We absolutely will sell out. So if people are interested, encourage you to reach out to us. I'm happy to have a chat and see if it's something that's a mutual fit.
Absolutely. Now, can I get just a quick closing statement just from each of you guys real fast? Just something just the audience can take away as we kind of come to a close today on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you're looking for an investment and you want to make an intelligent decision, I don't know of any reason why you wouldn't at least look at the site and see if the people are on there and get that information. Again, there's no cost to investors. Everything has been designed to try to help people make better decisions. So I encourage you to use the power that you have with managers to help make them prove to you that they're worthy of your money and that they would be good stewards of that money.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar, and I'll say it a little different, that as an investor, you're essentially voting with your investment capital. So, vote by kind of encouraging those managers to be Verivest verified, to be verified gold, to use the administration services that we offer. And as an investor, please reach out and engage with us. We don't have anything to sell. It's totally free to investors. There's no pressure, but we really enjoy engaging. And so sign up on the site, create an account, email us if you want a copy of Matt's book, and happy to send that to you.
What about you, Mike? Big Mike.
So really, my message is you're in really great hands working with Quest. So I've spent years working with Quest, and I am delighted you're in great hands. And you're in great hands working with Verivest. And I spent years working with Darius and Matt, and I love these guys. The most important lesson of this world is surround yourself with great people. And you're going to get better by who you surround yourself with. By surrounding yourself with Quest and Verivest and hopefully Tempo, you'll get a little better. You'll feel a little better. And at the end of the day, it'll be a fun, successful life journey.
Yeah, well, большое спасибо. Big thanks.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
So, guys, one of the things out there real fast is I want you to understand, if you want to use your IRA to do one of these investments, I want you to give me a quick call. I want you to send me an email, call Quest, all right? Consider setting up your self-directed IRA to check out these platforms. You understand that no matter who you go and wherever you are looking at putting your capital, right? And I think Verivest said it best, is that is your vote. You are voting on someone, and this is where you're trusting an individual to take your life savings, your retirement account, to put it to work. So why not take the extra second, check out their website. It doesn't cost anything, like they said, to make sure you guys are doing the right due diligence. I know we had a ridiculous amount of questions that kind of came up, and I couldn't get to all of them. So I want you to go ahead and reach out to Big Mike. I want you to reach out to Darius, right? Make sure that they can get your questions answered. I have Darius's email up here. It's real easy, darius.cassidy@verivest.com. And then check out the Tempo Funding website. You'll notice right at the top right, you have Alina's contact information, and she can schedule a call right away with you. So just let us know how we can help. So Big Mike, Verivest team, don't go anywhere. We're going to end the broadcast, guys, but I really do hope you enjoyed this. This was one of those things that it is Saturday. We know it's the middle of the day, so we appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to join us, listen to these fantastic speakers. Come check them out at the Quest Expo, which is just now about 40 days away. And make sure you check out Verivest's Investor Summit that's in November. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate you coming on. And once again, Verivest team and Big Mike, don't go anywhere just yet.